time if you think of something. So this takes us to item 3, public participation. I'd like to welcome Ōrua Paeroa Incorporated Society to come to the table, please. You've requested 2 blocks of 5 because you want to present in Te Reo Māori and in English. Welcome.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Nikora Nitro tōku ingoa. My name is Nikora Nitro and I'm here on behalf of Ōrua Paeroa Incorporated Society, a society that was started just last year out of a response of some of the homeless issues that were happening on the ground. And so those were resolved by some very hard-out pushes on Facebook, alerting ministers and staffers of ministry departments of the behaviour such as dumping clients of MSD into backpackers and then letting them fall onto the streets after they take their 2 weeks of money and then just say, hey, you're too naughty for us, but they already knew that they were naughty. So looking out from the building that I was first in, which was 186 Shore Ave for a business venture called the Hangi House, lots of controversy, but fabulous Hangi. And always looking down on the ground outside the pizza area and the cash machine. And so, of course, we see all the drug deals and all the sex happening down the aisle of the building of the backpackers. And we talk to the people, and they just simply tell us these stories. And so we've made an incorporated society because that issue is too big for one group to take on. And so we thought about, is the trust appropriate? No, that's only like 3 to 5, and then you can just pass what you want. There's no real engagement. And so incorporated society, after speaking to mana whenua whānau, and so that's, when I say mana whenua whānau, I mean the nannies on the ground, the ones that get grumpy in the rāpaki meetings and all of them around at the Kokorarata meetings and Wairewa and all of those meetings. You ask them first about what they think about how it could be best supported, and it can be best supported by the ground. And so the Incorporated Society has just formed itself. It's got Hallie and Sally Pitama as one of the queer. I'm a lifetime member because I am committed to these issues of the city. And as we can see, there's a lot of different issues going on for youth, for mental health, for all of these different areas of our society. And so all we're doing here today to the City Council is to say tēnā koutou. We welcome any support from the City Council. We do have some numbers that we will want to be rolling around the ministerial sort of level, and then we'll pop down to the council level, local level, to give you that update. So we're not asking you to say we're the best thing that the city has produced, but we do have a lot of metropolitan input across the city when it comes to youth affairs. How do you best deal with ram raiders, etc.? Where are those conversations on the marae? There are none. Where are the conversations about the dilapidated Ōrua Paeroa? Ōrua Paeroa is where the sea meets the land, where everyone goes for wellness over in New Brighton, Ōrua Paeroa. Ōrua Paeroa is being flandered around all over the place by this organisation, that education system, this program, etc. But no one has actually given any real depth about what is that general knowledge that the community knows about Ōrua Paeroa. And so whilst the media has their little turn on my ass out in the public, we are committed on the ground to getting these issues over the line. So I acknowledge in Riccarton, the mahi that's been done there with the mall and all of the whawhai that happens out there. We mihi to Kelly Barber, who shared with us the lovely comments last year, where he said that thank you for your good work that we do on the ground, because the media might have a certain narrative going, but actually the true stories are on the ground. And if you just sat for half an hour within the village and talk to the people, and what is a village? You know, there's a lot of media going on with that village of Ōrua Paeroa of New Brighton, and it's all up the beachfront. So just to say that actually let's highlight the whole of Ōrua Paeroa, which does start from where they're doing some roadworks just as you come out of Aranui, and it stretches all the way to the pier. And so we'd like to say that we have aspirations as well coming from the ground that haven't been heard yet through all of the consultation that's been out there about what is best for Ōrua Paeroa. Well, let me say this. Can we please have the car park fixed over by the supermarket? It doesn't actually require a lot of bureaucracy. It just requires someone to say, hey, How about a whānau ora approach where the council is the sort of parent, and they look at the dilapidated sort of area that has been neglected in all the budgets and through all the advocacy, perhaps because of the sub-advocacy going on with past councillors. But the car park would be the place to start. You don't need to come in with lots of dollars and big programs. You just need to fix the ground and then open the ground up with our light rail of 720 metres. Did you like that? That stretches from Menage Trois. Some people might only see it as the little hoko shop on the right as you go into New Brighton, but actually she's from Tūwharetoa. And so the cultural narrative even starts from that particular part of the area. I'm just wondering, do I have 10 minutes? Because I wanted to, okay, Thank you so much. And it's only because I want to Dutch in and out of Te Reo Māori. I wanted to present all of this in Te Reo Māori so that we could hear Te Reo Māori going full ball, full tack at this level at local government. So lots of people know me on the ground, lots of people know me up in the parliament, and now you will all know me down here at the local level. And so think of me as a court jester of the people, and also as a conduit to the conversations that perhaps would be helpful to getting some fast remedial action going on Orua Paeroa. It's all about Orua Paeroa, and I do acknowledge everyone that is here, and I acknowledge all the great work that's going on in the arts. And we invite the arts in the whole of the city to base themselves over in Christchurch, just for the next 3 years until Te Kaha is up and going. Because there's a lot of attention and a lot of projects going out all over the place. And our lovely councillor, who probably already has a huge workload, doesn't know that actually it's possible to do 50 things at once. Get them all going and getting, that's the thought from the ground. It's not the sort of like kōrero that you would hear around an office with all these nice sort of sentences, etc. It's just straight up 10, 9 and 8. So that's the underground, the underworld, and then the beneficiaries. Those are the three bottom tiers of the 10 tiers that we operate around. So, Kamatu i tērā, pirangi o kia kōrero I roti Te Reo Māori. I want to speak in Te Reo Māori. Tānau te kōrero tere, I can speak fast. I roti Te Reo Māori me Te Reo Pākehā, in Māori and Te Reo Pākehā. Taku ingoa ko Nikora Nitro, I heke mai te arawa tūhoi me Ngāti Hāmoa. I'm Nikora Nitro. I've been here for 23 years in the city teaching Māori performing arts. You have amongst you a strategy that was called Touching Lives of Our Future Leaders project. Touching Lives of Our Future Leaders project. That was started way back when the Deputy Mayor Leslie Keast was around the table, who I also heard through some other campaigning that I've done, was one of the stalwarts and the leaders of the community housing project from the executive team. So I want to say that the answers kei aku ringa. The answers are within us. Orua Paeroa, people think, oh, where'd you get that name? Have you anyone been to New Brighton? You looked on the left over there. What does that word say on that big building, that mural? Orua Paeroa. And so there started our sort of narrative about, okay, I reira te manawa. The heart is already there. Nā nei, mā ngā kuia, mā te hāpori a hara mai, kia whāki mai, hea te urahi kei mo ia tātou. It is up to our elders to come through and tell us which way to go and how to best navigate these sort of scenes. And so we want to say to the Mayor that he is doing so well. He is doing so amazing. And we are watching on the ground. Most of our observations are done by Facebook, but also all of Twitter and all of the commotion that goes on that side. But our people are watching. They're watching on the ground. And in fact, I've got he harekeke kona, I mauria mai tita he harekeke ahau. I brought a little harekeke, he puti, a flower, given by one of our homeless. That is now thanks to Brenda Lowe and the Homeless Collective in the city, in a transitional house, and she's working on her bits, and she makes puti now, and she goes up to the shops over in Edgware, and then she talks to the people, and things are going really well. It's not totally there at 4:30 in the morning when I was hanging out with some meth heads, and some cine people, and checking out what's going on in the ground, the actual ground, when people are asleep at night. Oh, what do we see on the main street on Colombo? People sleeping in tatty blankets, etc. You know, if I think about the arts world, it's within their scope to hear such things as let's do something different. Let's do something different, like, can they be the flashiest homeless in Christchurch? Can we have that sort of thing going on for a reputation? Can we have the best blankets for our homeless? Can we put them in mansions? Can we buy one mansion out of the housing budget and then just use that, because there doesn't seem to be anywhere to fit anyone? So why not put them, you know, when someone comes over to your house and then you put them in the best bed? Well, how about that for Christchurch? So we just want to say Oroa Paeroa, all of our stuff is in the minutes, and just want to say what a great team this Christchurch City Council has got, and I hope to see really amazing things in the future. Tēnā koe Henstock, mō au mahi I reira, so just acknowledging all your mahi in Papa Nui amongst the people, and also congratulations on your appointment to the Christchurch NZ board, of which we hope to hang tino rangatiratanga flags all on all of the poles where those tete ones are at the moment, and then we switch it over the next month to another national.
Perfect timing. Thank you very much for coming in. That was a really interesting forum. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to welcome Steve Wakefield, who'd like to talk to us for 5 minutes on the Court Theatre. Welcome, Steve. Sorry, I've got to acknowledge we've got Councillor McClellan and Tyler Harrison-Hunt on Zoom this morning. So, fire away. Thank you.
Kia ora tātou. Good morning, Madam Chair and councillors, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to you about the current council RFP for development of the 129 Gloucester Street site in the Performing Arts Precinct, the land that was previously intended to be a car parking facility. I'm Steve Wakefield, and I'm speaking to you today on behalf of the Court Theatre Trust, where I've been a trustee for around 14 years. And joining me here, we have some of our patron staff and friends of the court supporting in the public gallery, and many of you know Ross Gumberley. We welcome around 150,000 patrons per year through our doors, including over 130,000 nighttime attendances. So we can help drive activity for a wide range of hospitality businesses in the area. But we've said all the way along this journey to return to the CBD, including when I previously submitted to council, that having a car park facility nearby has always been a requirement of the Court Theatre coming back into the central city. Our patrons have clearly told us this, and it's the number one priority for them when considering coming into our new theatre. Back last year, when the previous council considered the proposed sale of this land to a car parking operator, it was told by a well-known private developer that another car parking facility was going to be built soon, less than 100 metres away on Armagh Street, and so there was no need to build a car park on the Gloucester Street site. On the strengths of these assurances, council decided not to sell the land, and a few weeks ago issued an RFP seeking proposals for alternative uses that would benefit the Performing Arts Precinct. However, since that decision last year, things have substantially changed. That Armagh Street car park development has not happened and is not likely to happen because of the Catholic Diocese proposal being halted. The developer has also made public statements that this proposed development and others were being withdrawn. This is of serious concern to the Court Theatre Trust Board, since we're now well advanced with council to build the new Court Theatre and construction is underway. We're planning to open the new theatre in early 2025, but immediately and in the longer term, our viability will be threatened by the lack of a planned car parking facility nearby. In the RFP recently released by council, it says, please note, following a public consultation process in 2022, the elected council considered and resolved that the land would no longer be required for the provision of a car parking building. Therefore, any application under this RFP for use of the land as a parking facility will not be considered. I am here today to ask you to stop altogether or to modify this RFP by removing that prohibition, as we would like to put in a mixed-use proposal that provides both a performing arts and social services space on the ground floor, as well as a car parking facility above. We believe that the council should be open-minded to different proposal options, including car parking, and so we're requesting that council give our request fair and proper public debate at its 19 July meeting, and to employ a full and transparent process to look at the options and consequences prudently. This decision sets the framework for the next 50 years. We believe it's legitimate to reconsider this previous council decision because, number one, the rationale for the previous council decision is no longer valid, since the promised alternative car park facilities have not been built or even committed to. Number two, a car park will support all of the Performing Arts Precinct, including the piano, the music centre and the Isaac Theatre Royal, as well as Tūranga and Te Pai across the street and the cathedral nearby. Number three, it is not correct that there's no need for car parking in the area. A professional traffic report was done previously for council that validated the demand and business case north of the square. Temporary gravel car parks will be gone in a few years and can't be relied upon. Number 4, the council's 2018 RFP for a car park operator for the site stated the peak car parking demand for the Performing Arts Precinct is expected to greatly exceed the PAP parking building capacity of 300 vehicles. Number 5, south of the square there are now 5 post-earthquake multi-storey car parking buildings. North of the square there are none, and the council's Manchester Street building that was demolished has not been replaced and the insurance proceeds have not been applied. Number 6, we now have a different mayor and a different council. Number 7, it is inappropriate for council documents to state that use as a car park is not needed and will not be considered, when we agreed to bring our theatre into the central city on the assurances from council that there would be one developed on the land next door. And number 8, proposals that include car parking should not be blocked in preference to an unsolicited alternative proposal bid that has been put to council already. The clear message from our patrons has been that they will continue to support the theatre, but only if easy car parking is provided close by. Virtually none of our patrons come to the Court Theatre by bicycle or public transport, and though we believe encouraging these modes of transport is an idealistic goal, it should not be promoted at direct risk to the viability of the Court Theatre. Some of our theatre goers are elderly or disabled, and accessible parking should be a priority, and our elderly and disabled patrons should not be shut out. It is the opinion of our Trust Board that the car parking building close by is critical to the ongoing viability of the Court Theatre. The Council is investing $50 million in this, and we are raising $12 million towards our new Court Theatre. We can't allow this issue to make us fail. Our business case assumed that a car parking building would be built next door on the land that was acquired by the Crown for this purpose and then given away to the council. We are not saying sell this land, a long-term lease is all that's needed. We would like to lodge a proposal for the site that provides a cultural performance space and social services space on the ground floor and multiple levels of car parking above. So please agree to consider stopping or modifying this RFP to remove the prohibition of car parking proposals and to extend the deadline at your upcoming 19 July meeting. Thank you very much for listening. Kia ora.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thanks for coming in. Listened, and it was a very good presentation, and thanks for the very clear handout as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we move on to the third public forum, which is Glenn Livingston and Vaughan Utteridge are here to share plans for celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Commonwealth Games here in Christchurch. Are you there? Welcome to the table. Glenn, you haven't changed a bit. Well, not much anyway. And Vaughan. He's taller. He's got high heels on. And Gary. Right.
Tēnā koe kai whakahaere, Pauline.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koe Amorangi. Good to see you all. Thank you for your hard work for the city, much of it which goes unseen. We've been to see the top kai whakahaere Phil Major, so he knows about this and very enthusiastic about it. But without further ado, I wish to hand over to my fellow volunteer, Vaughan. There's a group of us undertaking this that has official NZ IOC sanction. So we've gone through the process and lining up the ducks, and we're joined also, I see, by Gary. So.
Yeah, thank you. So this is an exciting anniversary. Next year, this time, 50 years ago, the city was in full preparation mode for what has become an iconic and probably the most loved event that New Zealand's ever had, and engaged the whole city. So at the start of the last year, there was a group of us saying, how can we acknowledge the 50 years? Some of you may have been old enough to be remember it. Some of you maybe not. Or your parents and grandparents would have been heavily involved because it touched all parts of the city, and it was an opportunity that we felt that needed to be celebrated properly and really acknowledged as part. And looking back, it's something that was really special for this city. So why we won't quite make the 100, I don't think. So we just got to do the 50th really well and really celebrate it. There has been celebrations in the last 50 years for every 10 years, but this was an opportunity to sort of step it up and really just send it off in a really good way. Time to celebrate the city. The legacy that event, still those events, some of those venues are still being used. Unfortunately, we lost QE2, but it's been rebuilt and fit for purpose for the city now, so that's exciting. The community, over 300,000 people were touched with this event. The people, the stories that we're getting are really cool, really amazing, and we really want to celebrate all those. And obviously the athletes and the moments, the Dick Taylors, the John Walker, 1500, and all those the Jamie Parkhouse, all those moments that we had. So we really opportunity to move and look at those. 2 events. On the Friday night will be Connect, and the Saturday night will be Celebrate. And there's additional events that will happen. We're allowing the sports to do their own reunions, and we're working really well with the community team, Gary and his lot, and the library to do a really cool 6-week sort of display there. So that's really exciting, and we thank them a lot for their support. On the Friday night, time to mingle, time to rekindle some of those relationships, share some memories, and that'll be at the Christchurch City Town Hall, again, which was was only celebrated its 50th and was especially set for this event. So that had some of the iconic moments. The Graham May falling forward on with the weightlifting, that was there. Almost ran into Princess Anne apparently, so we almost lost a royal that night. So those are sort of, maybe not that memory, but some of the memories we need to rekindle and share. So that's going to be an exciting night. And then on the Saturday, go back to sort of the iconic, so the newest venue in town, which will be at Te Pai. Formal acknowledgement of the 50 years, celebrating everything that was there. Whoopsie daisy. Was that me or was that someone else? Oh, that's cool. And it's going to be inspired by 1974, so ham steaks and pineapple rings for the main meal. So and such. So maybe not. And really just acknowledge some of the really highlight the event, and not just the athletes, because that's been done to death, but the actual community, the people, the stories, the volunteers, the people, the amount of stories that we get about people saying, "Oh, my mum served tea to the Kenyan running team when they were walking past." All those sort of things we really want to just really hang our hat on and just say, "Well done, Christchurch," and that was pretty cool. So that's about where we're at. We're really strong interest from online, not just from old people like me, but with their kids, and they've got memories of their parents bringing out their memorabilia and such. Ticket sales go up in July. We've developed strong relationships with Bruce Ulrich, who will know who was one from the only original person left from the organising committee. So he's got we're working strong with him, and also the NZOC, which is really providing some really good support financially as well. So that's quite exciting. So looking forward to it. This was just about putting it on your radar, and hopefully we can really send it off in a really cool way. And thank you to Gary and his team for the support we're receiving.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for bringing this in. This is really going to be really exciting next year. It's fantastic.
Should be great for the city.
Will be great for the city, for Aotearoa, that's really blooming now. So thank you very much. So we don't have time for any questions, sorry, but we know how to get hold of you through Gary if anyone's got any brilliant ideas they want to add. So looking forward to it.
Okay, great.
Kia ora.
Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Get those Holdens down Colombo Street. Right?
Yeah. All right. So now I'd like to welcome Brett Burquest, Assistant Vice-Chancellor at the engagement at the University of Canterbury, who's here to present the Community Impact Report celebrating the university's 150th year anniversary, and then we'll go straight to item 15 after that. Welcome, Brett.
Well,
Lena.
thank you. Thank you very much. I actually brought a few hard copies I'd like to hand out. Kia ora koutou katoa. Ko Brad Berkowitz toko ingawa. Hei amoka pua te raupu papari aho I te whare wananga Waitaha. A pleasure to be here with you today to discuss this. Ka titiro whakamuri ki te anga whakamua, guided by the past, shaping the future. That's the theme for our 150th anniversary. In 1873, the second tertiary education institution was founded in Aotearoa, right here in Otatahi, Christchurch. Education was an immediate priority for our fledgling community, and we are very grateful for the support and close ties over the past 150 years. So in that context, we wanted to take a deep look at these ties for our milestone year of 2023. We adapted a civic engagement framework developed in the UK, and we asked consultants Public First to join forces with our local partner, Research First, led by Carl Davidson, who many of you will know, and we worked with Mana Whenua through collaboration with Dr. John Reed of our university's Ngaitahu Centre. The project read into our community and strategy through extensive literature review. Community leaders were consulted through in-depth interviews. Focus groups included educators, parents, civic leaders. A charrette workshop with staff was undertaken, along with student leadership. And Christchurch City Council surveyed the greater Christchurch population through existing sampling methods. 815 responses were received in December of last year. So through this work, we were humbled by the broad support for the university and the important role it plays in our community. The business community sees us as a very important partner for meeting their talent needs. Over 1 in 2 NCA qualified students in Waitaha, Canterbury enroll at the University of Canterbury, and half of our graduates join the local workforce. Our growth in enrollments over the past few years has been from North Islanders coming to Christchurch. This has been much discussed in the media at the moment, particularly the last couple of weeks, as we reset enrollments with open borders. We're very proud to have the highest level of enrollments in our 150-year history this year. But it's very much a collective win, reflecting the city and our collaboration with the region. Here are some highlights from the report, and we're really pleased to see that of the residents who responded to the survey by council, 80% said that the university is important to them. Our research colleagues from the UK said they'd never seen such high scores. The Tees Museum at our historic First Campus has drawn 60,000 visits since its opening, and continuing our long tradition of opening our doors to the public, which dates right back to the very start of higher education in Aotearoa. We continue to have strong public attendance in industry engagement, open lectures, and many events. Some of you may have attended our Raising the Bar talks on the 2nd of May, where in 10 pubs across the city in Littleton, we had 20 talks, and each venue sold out. We are the second largest employer in the region, generating nearly $800 million of indirect economic impact. We prioritize local relationships and spend about 2/3 of our spending locally, and we've generated 372 startups in the past few years. We contribute to society in many different ways, and many of our graduates go into areas of public service. We work hard to contribute to health and well-being of our community and our region. That's an important goal for us. And we contribute to the cultural life of the city in many different ways. Our digital screen is an interesting new innovation where we're repurposing the Dovedale campus with an innovative new approach that has brought 170 enrollments into this brand new program this year. Sustainability is important to New Zealand and to Christchurch and the university, and we're very pleased to see that we are ranked in the top 100 globally for our leadership in sustainability, both by Times Higher Education this year, as well as QS. So sustainability is a common theme where we're doing a lot of work together, including research collaboration with Council in terms of very pragmatic needs in the future for our community. But running through that very rapidly to see if there's any time for discussion, One thing I wanted to highlight is that along with all the aroha that came through in this report and which warmed our hearts, we also heard that in many ways the university underplays its potential. The community wants to hear more stories from us, stronger position taking on subjects that matter to us. They want to see us more and understand what we stand for. Part of this is just visibility on the things we're already doing. So what can we do to make that more transparent and more visible to the public? One example is that the younger generation of local residents may not realize that the Arts Center was the original campus of UC for our first nearly 100 years. Now, it's probably difficult for people of my generation to conceptualize, but it's a common theme that came through, that a lot of our activities don't have sufficient signage and recognition that it's actually UC behind those activities. So we're having discussions about how we could just lift the visibility of what we're already doing. And of course, the 150th anniversary gives us the great platform to do that. It's a great time to throw a lot of parties. So this year we reactivated a graduation parade through the CBD. It was a beautiful sunny morning, and the mayor welcomed the students with a glass of orange juice. It was still morning, so no bubbles, to kind of celebrate that. And it was great to see the turnout across the city to watch the graduates go by. We had photo boards on High Street. We're taking those photo boards through a series of exhibitions out into the region as well. Galas, concerts, sporting events, and so on. And this report, and the chance to really promote that and to tell our story better. Reflecting on all of this, we decided to launch a new scholarship this year. We've called the scholarship Te Kakawa Maui. And this scholarship is doing 2 intakes of 150 students who will not receive a tuition bill until they finish their undergraduate degree. And these are for students from low decile schools across Te Waiponamu. So this is really to give back to our community and to emphasize our focus on access and inclusion. We have a really comprehensive set of strategies that we call Kiangitu, which are allowing us to really transform student success rates in first year. And so this allows us to support students who simply might not have been looking at the university in their future. And we're really pleased that this has already driven a 4-fold increase in applications from lower decile schools who typically weren't looking at the university. It also has been the major focus of our scholarship appeal, our fundraising for the 150th. And it's been a grassroots giving campaign of a suggested gift of $150, simply to invite everyone to participate in that particular initiative. So we also announced a $1.1 million in gifts as we kicked off the fundraising appeal at the Chancellor's Black Tie Fundraising Gala Dinner late April at Te Pai that many of you attended. So with that, I just wanted to recognize the strong collaboration we have with Council, always exploring ideas for taking that further. And this report was just really a fantastic opportunity to take stock of our role with the community, to listen to the community, and to explore our future for the next 150 years. Angamihi.
Kia ora. That was an excellent report. Thank you very much. And there's that collaboration word again that we hear. Just on that, the Arts Centre being the original university here, and we were talking to Philip Aldridge last week, Victoria and I, and they are looking for stories from or experiences from past attendees who attended the university at the Arts Centre site. So a bit of a call out there if anyone knows anyone who attended and they'd like to offer a story, that would be quite good.
My
so
dad
are there any questions? Kelly?
If I could work the button, I'd be away. Sorry about that. Yeah, my father actually attended university when he was doing engineering at the Arts Centre. I'm sure he'd be happy to be involved in some of the stories, because he had some absolutely fantastic ones when they were going between the 2 campuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really have a question, actually. Just want to say that.
Get him to contact Philip Aldridge, that would be really helpful. Are there any other questions for Brett this morning while he's here? No? All right.
We're actually putting out a new history of the university in December. So that's a book that's well in preparation, which will be published by Canterbury University Press, which will also include quite a sampling of photos and some stories from the past.
Yeah.
But it will be primarily a critique of the role of the university over the past 150 years.
That's fabulous. And I think the new scholarship program is really forward-thinking as well. And I was at that gala dinner, and you had a few of the recipients on the stage who spoke, and it actually really brought tears to all of our eyes, because what it meant to them and their whānau, who'd never in their wildest dreams ever even considered the word university, let alone being given the chance to attend.
Yeah, we believe it's a first in that we're not filtering by grades. So you have to be, university qualified with your NCA scores. But after that, sorting through the hundreds of applications, we're sorting by motivation and their overall profile and their desire to give back to their community. So that's allowed some really interesting students who qualified but didn't have the absolute top grades to really project themselves and to feel seen and to feel heard. So that's really coming through in this first cohort we took in, and we already have over 400 applications for the second cohort we'll be doing for semester 1, 2024.
Brilliant. Otatahi is City of Opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Polly.
you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, so on that note, we'll move to item 15, and we have a resolution there to receive